Hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. It's currently heat wave in the UK and I'm really struggling, but we're gonna get through this. Today is a really important video. I would like to talk to you about media literacy, critical thinking, and education. Also how to prevent cognitive decline, especially with the rise of AI. So listen, I have not long ago made a whole separate video about AI and why we should start using our brains more. And I'm not being ironic when I say that. It sounds like a joke, but it's not. But I would like to talk more about how to be better read and how to be better educated overall. How to be smarter, how to make it less easy for other people to manipulate you, all those kind of things. Especially important, once again, I just want to highlight that once again, that with the rise of AI, a lot of people start to unironically use AI in order to read and write emails and do very, very simple mundane tasks that we used to do without even thinking, because that's just something that we did. And now more and more people completely delegate their brain power to AI. So yeah, it does pose a bigger issue already in today's day and age, but also moving forward into the future. So let's talk about how to be smarter. Let's talk about how to be better rounded, I want to say. This intro is a bit too long at this point. Let's get started with the first point. Write with your hand. Yes, you have got to start writing more with your hand. And here's the thing, I am a big fan of journaling and I'm a big advocate for journaling. I talk about this all the time. However, I want to say that you don't have to be journaling in order to start incorporating this habit, I want to say, into your routine. You don't have to be doing things like that. You don't have to be a writer to do that, But every time that you want to note something down, maybe on your phone or on your laptop or on your tablet, maybe in some cases you might want to start using paper and a pen. Yeah. So here is a thing about writing with your hand compared to typing, for example. So handwriting is associated with brain activation that stimulates a long-term memory, understanding, and recall of information, which means that it's going to be a lot easier for you to remember information that you actually write and to quite literally better understand it. So, also another thing is that if you are typing a lot and your phone has autocorrect, it might become kind of harder for you to recall spelling. And a lot of people I notice start to completely disregard spelling and think that this is something sort of of the past. And it's incredibly depressing to see that, because it hasn't been too long that this new technology entered the world and kind of overtook our daily lives, and people are already forgetting how to write properly. So it doesn't happen when you actually practice writing, I can't believe I'm saying that. Another thing is that, listen, when it comes to handwriting as well, I personally used to take notes at university, all throughout my university life, which was about 7 years. And I always took handwritten notes on the lectures and whenever we had to take any kind of notes. And I'm not saying that because I thought it was better than everyone else. That's actually not the case at all. I actually felt like I was a lot worse at typing quickly. I was a lot slower at typing that the other students. So pretty much everybody else was typing on their laptops and I was using a notepad and a pen, So just good old-fashioned notebook. And I knew that it's better for your brain because that information is very well known and was well known at the time also, but it's just something that was a lot more convenient for me personally, right? But there's a lot of evidence suggesting that it does improve your memory and it does improve your understanding of subject. So it doesn't really matter if you are a uni student or if you're in school or if you're learning anything at all. If you have an opportunity to take a note, write something down, I suggest you start taking it. I really do. Another point, which is honestly one of my favorite points, and it's the most fun one, to be honest with you, probably for most people, I want to say, is read diversely. When it comes to reading diversely, it's a whole subject and a reason for debate, for example, on platforms such as TikTok. If you are familiar with book talk, you know how much people argue about what counts as reading and what counts as a good book and what is a good book, what makes a good book. And if you read a lot of books of a certain genre, does it even count as you're reading? Doesn't even count that you are a smart person, or does it even count at all? It sounds absolutely ridiculous. And the thing is that I do have my opinions on books. I made a few books. I made a few videos in the past about fiction and nonfiction books. I make a strong case for fiction books because they develop your imagination and your empathy, your critical thinking, and it puts you in a position of characters. It literally puts you in the shoes of the characters in the books, and allows you to walk their paths, be in certain situations that you would never be in otherwise, especially if you're reading like fantasy books or like science fiction, stuff like that, right? And it really allows you to develop your cognitive abilities, your critical thinking skills, and again, all of these things are absolutely essential, especially today. But when it comes to reading diversely specifically, I want to say that read whatever you like, honestly. It doesn't really matter what you like to read as long as you engage in the act of reading and you actually enjoy it, right? Please do that. However, the one thing that I would recommend is trying to read internationally. So try to read international books written by authors from all over the world, read books in translation, and try to understand characters from different parts of the world. It really expands your horizons like nothing else, and allows you to honestly virtually travel the world. And I'm talking about specifically reading authors that are international, not just, people from your country who are writing books about people from different parts of the world, basically, right? Read international authors. That really helps to expand your horizons and to develop your thinking skills, all right? It puts you in the shoes of the characters. It allows you to see the world differently. Okay, it helps you to understand other people's perspectives. That is very, very important to do. Okay, now a bonus point I want to say that if you like to do both of these things, if you're already engaging in reading diversely or honestly reading at all, which I applaud you for if you do, and in handwriting, in like specifically writing with pen and paper, old-fashioned style. Can't believe I'm even saying that. Sounds ridiculous, but unfortunately it's true. More and more so every day. I suggest that you get yourself a reading journal, and if you don't really have any reason to write anything with your hand, here's a reason for your reading journal. After you read a book, take a note. After you read a book, you can take some notes. You can write what the book was about, how it made you feel. Maybe you can write down some quotes from the book, maybe a few notes on the author. This is a really, really good writing exercise that you can engage in if you don't know what else you can write. So there you go. This next point is very interesting and cool. It can also be gamified, if you will. And the point is about entertaining other people's points of view and other people's perspective, but without necessarily accepting their points of view. Now that's very important. Okay? Listen, I personally see this a lot again on Book Talk, which has definitely become a bit of a toxic place, right? If you kind of like look around, if you see what people talk about, right? I follow certain people who have really good critical thinking skills, so they don't really jump to conclusions so quickly. But people often, I noticed, really like to jump to conclusions, and they don't like entertaining other points of view. People get a lot of opinions reading about things that they don't agree with. And here's the thing, I'm not pushing you to read the things that are blatantly hateful or things that completely disagree with your moral codex or something like that. That is not at all what I'm talking about. And this is not even a point about reading at all. What I want to say is that I strongly suggest you start entertaining different points of view and start playing almost like a game of debate with yourself when you take a point and you try to argue this point from different perspectives, not in order to change your own mind, but in order to understand other people's perspective, other people's points of view. Try to understand where could someone be coming from in order to have a certain opinion. The point of this is to, once again, to expand your horizons, right? And to develop your own critical thinking skills, not in order to change your own mind, right? It's a really, really important skill to be able to entertain an idea without accepting it, without changing your own mind, right? But just to try to understand other people, not even necessarily to be more empathetic towards them, but just to expand your own mind, and also in order to be able to argue better, which could be a fantastic skill, and it is a fantastic skill, to be honest with you. I love it. You can play this game by yourself, you can play this game with your friends, you can literally play the game of debate. One of the best things that ever happened to me was that I joined a debate club before I went to university, when I was finishing school, basically, here in the UK, and truly it was absolutely fantastic when we were given a task, we were given a certain point, and we were given a week to prepare arguments for or against, and you did not always have a choice which side you were going to be arguing on, but you were given a side. Basically, you have to prepare arguments for or against a certain point. It doesn't really matter what your personal opinion on it is. It does not matter whatsoever, but you had to prepare arguments in order to win. And that's what we had to do. And that was extremely fun, and it was really entertaining. I absolutely loved that. I love arguing, to be honest with you. So that was incredible for me. And it really allows you to see the world. I already said that it allows you to expand your mind, but that's like truly what it does. It truly expands your horizons, and not necessarily in the way that I just keep repeating the same point, but it's really important to say that you don't have to change your mind on things. If it happens, it happens, but that's not the point of it. You don't have to agree with it whatsoever, but the points have to be valid. You can't just like say ridiculous things just because you don't agree with a point, right? You have to prepare specific arguments that are legit. So there you go. It can be a really fun, like, I don't know, party game if you want, but you can also entertain this idea with yourself. You could even write essays on this if you want, and try to evaluate different subjects, evaluate different points of view. This is also something that we did a lot, and I really, really appreciate that. It's truly one of the best skills, and helps you to see the picture in a lot more of a balanced way a lot of the times. And not to jump to conclusions, right? So you see a bigger picture. And the final point is stare into the void. Yes, it sounds crazy, but do your best to not numb yourself at any given point when you have nothing to do. So when you're making a morning coffee, or you are waiting in line or something like that, when you have kind of like free time, when you have nothing to do and you catch yourself feeling bored, or you catch yourself kind of being too much in your own head and it starts to make you feel uncomfortable, sit with that feeling of discomfort and become more comfortable with it, is what I want to say. Stare into the void. Don't jump to numbing yourself, to scrolling on your phone, to texting someone. Just be there. Just be present in the moment and entertain your own thoughts. Because a lot of the times, I made a few videos about this before, but a lot of the times we get the most brilliant ideas or the most life-changing ideas when we are bored, when we are not on our phones, when we're not numbing ourselves. And that is why I suggest that you start practicing being in a more meditative state, noticing your body, but also entertaining your thoughts, practices of journaling, practices of reflecting on yourself, on certain situations that happen to you, and just being by yourself and becoming comfortable with your own company and with your own thoughts and your mind without having to escape that with any, opportunity. So there you have that. Anyways, thank you so very much, you guys, for watching this video. I hope you liked it. I hope it helped you as well. And if you have any other thoughts or ideas, please let me know in the comments. If you have any other tips on how to improve your media literacy and how to expand your thinking and how to become a smarter person, basically how to expand your horizons, drop them in the comments down below as well. Let's talk about this. Honestly, it's a very important topic. Thank you very much once again for watching this video. Please like and share it with your loved ones. Let me know what you think in the comments, and please subscribe for more. I love you very much, you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.